Welcome, welcome. My name is Shay, and I help gamers and anime fans such as myself get jacked for life, gain the first pound of muscle that they'll ever want, and the last pound of muscle that they'll ever need. Okay, so let's get into the video, right? And if throughout this video I've gained your trust, I know that sometimes the fitness, whole fitness thing can get lonely sometimes. So if you're, an anime enthusiast and gamer just like I am, then go to the description below. You'll see a link to join a free community where I do Q&A calls and go through my transformations and stuff like that to be able to help you out. Okay. So without further ado, let's get into it. So basically, today I wanted to get into a little something else. So I've gone over diet, I've gone over a little bit of my mindset, I've gone over exercise a little bit, right? And how all you need to do is literally just get started. But the problem is, for a lot of you, the issue is this, right? You're not even convinced that you're in a position where you need to get started into the gym to begin with, and that is going to keep you stuck for a long time. A lot of you on some of my last videos commented, attractiveness is subjective and all that stuff. And you know what? You're right. You're right. But the problem is that for a lot of you, this is like a coping mechanism for you to not get better. And the only person, let me listen to this very carefully. The only person that it screws over is you. Only person, because you're talking about a small percentage of people who are very, very thin, right? Skinny, who are models, who look good, who are modeling. Okay, you're talking about a small percentage of people. Now, I will preface this by saying this, right? If you genuinely feel good about being skinny and being at that body weight, dude, rep it. All right, you do. Like, if you genuinely feel comfortable with yourself, I know I didn't. So if you feel comfortable with yourself, cool, rock it. But I know if you're anything like me, if you're just being honest at all with yourself, you did not want that. The only reason you were there is because you had no idea how you would actually get muscular, how you would become more attractive. That's the only reason you stayed there, and you pretended to be like, yeah, I actually like where I'm at. And you know what sucks about this so much is that people around you will also tell you you're doing great. And to some degree, I don't blame them because they want to be sociable as well and tell you that they're doing great. They don't want to be disliked by saying, oh, you're not doing as great as you could be, because that is not what people want to hear, right? That's not what they want to hear. But I think a true friend and people who really stick by you and really want what's good for you tell you what you need to hear. And I want to be that for you because I didn't have that, okay? And so I say this: are you truly happy with where you're at in terms of your body? And now I know I get a lot of people also hitting me with more excuses now. Like, this is what your mind's going to think. Oh, Shay, it's not about the looks. Oh, Shay, that's too dunya, that's too worldly. Oh, Shay, that's this. Oh, Shay, that's that. But the truth is, like, I'm not saying that it needs to be the singular focus of your life to where that's the only part of your personality that you care about, or you make that the thing that is most valuable. Because if you were to lose that somehow, if you somehow lost your body, you lost your physique, who would you be then? And that is very, very true. I agree with that. But at the same time, you've got to take care of yourself. If you love yourself, if you claim you love yourself as much as you do, you have to take care of yourself. And the problem is, everybody tells you one thing. They tell you, oh, this is either worldly, or you're not leaving the world with your body, or it doesn't matter. Everybody tells you that, but then somehow the world treats you differently. That's what sucks about all this so much. They tell you one thing, and they tell you you're perfect the way you are, but then the world treats you completely differently. The opposite of what you were told, which you should be loved, you should be cared for, but you're not. You should get the respect. I'm here to tell you you shouldn't, because, and maybe that sucks to hear. Maybe you want to click off the video because I told you something again that you don't want to hear. But maybe it's something that you need to hear, because that's what got me to finally gain a lot of muscle and build up my physique, okay? And do people treat you differently? It is true. It is so true. People treat you way differently. And some people say this is superficial, but I'll tell you what, right? It's also the fact that you put in the work to deserve that body is what gives you the respect. Because people think that it's superficial, but it's not. You want to know why? It's not the body that's the only thing that's affected when you work out. I want you to take the same person. We can call that you, right? I want you to take one person, and then that same person, well, one person works out and the other person does not. Do you think that the physique will be the only distinguishing factor between them, or will it be their mindset? Will they care a little bit more about their life? Will they take care of themselves a little bit more? And by that fact, expect a little bit more out of their partner, not because they think they're too good, but because, oh, they want their partner to be better. Why? So that they can be also an example to their children. So stop lying to yourself, okay? I want you to stop lying to yourself. Be really honest with yourself. If you're fine with being that way and you think you have a physique, or you think you have the kind of like model like looks, cool, cool. But if people around you are telling you one thing, but deep down you're feeling another thing of like, man, maybe I'm not getting, you know, the respect that I really want. Maybe I could look better. Maybe I could feel better. Maybe I could set an example in the future to the people that I'll eventually love someday, my wife, my husband, my children. I feel like a lot of us get deluded into thinking that this doesn't matter. And I get it, dude. It's worldly, it's all this, but that's only the case when it becomes the only part of your personality, and it becomes the only thing that's a part of your self worth. Because you'll hear a lot of women that are very, very beautiful talking about this on some of their interviews. I forgot her name, but I think Chris Williamson, he talked about it. He said, there's this girl, a very, very attractive woman. When she reached her 50s, when she goes into a room full of men, they don't look at her the same, because now there's new 20-year-olds in the room, or people in their 20s that look a lot more attractive, like she used to. And that bums you out, because that was like the one thing you had going for you. I experienced this in terms of my grades. The grades were the only thing I had going for me. I didn't have my physique going for me at the time. I started really, really skinny. People say good genetics, bro. A lot of my ab definition came from the fact that I was running constantly in soccer all the time. All the time. I was the left wing position, and that's basically where you keep following the ball, and it kept going back and forth. Like the ball keeps going between the field, so you're just running. It's basically running laps during the game, you know. So I was incredibly skinny, 120, and now I'm 190. I have a decent bit of body fat on me, don't lie, but I'm bulking right now, and then I'm going to cut down and have that more muscular aesthetic physique. And so again, people treat you way differently, dude. I've had girls that wouldn't even look at me from back in high school to when once we were out of high school, and they went to the same gym I did, telling me, like, coming up to me and telling me how good I look. And that's not to boost my own ego, dude. I'm just telling you, like, stop lying to yourself. I'm sick and tired of people lying to themselves and convincing themselves that it, you know, doesn't matter. And trust me, dude, trust me. When I was at that stage, that is all I wanted to believe, that it really doesn't matter. But I realized I'm not the one that really writes the rules to this stuff. Because even though it shouldn't matter, I'm just playing the game. It's like a video game, dog. There's some characters in the meta that I don't want to go up against, that I really don't want to fight. I remember being a Genji main in Overwatch when the whole Brigitte meta came out. Like, I did not want to play the game anymore. I was like, it shouldn't be this way. Yeah, everybody agrees that it shouldn't be this way. Everybody talks mad shit in the lobby saying it shouldn't be this way. But guess what? They're still playing the fucking game. Have you not seen those memes where people are like, oh yeah, me and homie talking shit about the game in the lobby, and then him and me going right back to playing the game? That's exactly how this works. It's people saying one thing, but then in reality, something else is complete, like something else is true. It shouldn't matter, yeah, but I didn't make the rules, dog. I'm just telling you what you need to hear. And right now, you probably feel, well, shit, that sucks. The world is then really as superficial as they're saying, and that kind of makes you a little bit depressed because you're like, so people are that superficial? No, 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 no. Listen, the people who have also convinced you that building a physique is superficial, I don't agree with it all either. I can see their argument because people are like, oh, you chose him because he looks better, or uh, he chose you because she looks better, or whatever. But it says so much about a person when they actually take care of their body. Think about it, right? It's not only that they look good, they look attractive. Like, when did it become a bad thing to want to look more attractive? uh, and and don't hit me with the, oh guys, I don't have the genetics to do that. When y'all are thinking about that, I want you to listen to this. I want you to understand this, okay? I've been coaching for a while now, and I've also been in the bodybuilding scene for a while. The bikini models that you see, for the women and the e-girls out there, okay, and for the men out here, the Mr. Olympias or classic physique men, or all these bodybuilding pros, essentially, right? Fancy word of saying bodybuilding pros. These guys not only have the top 1% genetics, right? They also have the pharmaceutical care, the all the steroids and drugs that they need to be able to set foot on stage like that and look like that, okay? So that's when it goes into unrealistic standards and territories that you don't want to go into. And a lot of the times, I'm going to be honest with you, these people are not happy with their physique. You think that they're the epitome of health because they're the ones building perfect proportions for their physique and they look the best. That's not necessarily true. Some of these people are as unhealthy as obese people, or under people who are severely underweight. As unhealthy, if not more, because of the doses of steroids that they're on. They're not that healthy, bro. So I'm not telling you to reach for that level, because a lot of you, when you think like, oh, I need an aesthetic physique, you immediately think of the top 1% of people. And that makes you think that you're smart, because it somehow negates the argument that you should, oh, not go to the gym. That's like saying, hey dog, Necros from Overwatch is already a top 500% like player, top 500 player, or someone who plays a character in a game is already the best player in the world, so I'm not going to bother playing that character at all. What's the point? It's like, maybe you don't want to be the best because of the lifestyle that comes with. That's probably why. But maybe you want to play the game enough to where you're good at it. You don't have to be a top 500 or masters when it comes to bodybuilding, because you know the lifestyle, again, that comes with that is not very healthy. You can just be a masters and be fine. But what matters is the fact that you started at silver, bronze, you started at the lowest tier, and you made that much progress. That's what matters. It's not where you could potentially end up, because maybe that's not the thing that you want at the end of the day either. And trust me, you don't want that. Extreme dieting, look amazing. Y'all think of the extremes when it comes to this, but it doesn't take that much to maintain it. Dude, I don't track my calories all the time. Do you think I don't go to restaurants? Do you think I don't do a lot of these things? I'm the average guy that's just trying to build an attractive physique. And I would argue I have a pretty good one. Could it be argued that I have pretty good genetics? Of course. Could it be argued that um, you know, that I eat pretty well as well? Yeah, it could be argued that could be argued as well. Absolutely. But it's like, I fail to see where you're winning this argument. And it's and my bad. I shouldn't have phrased it like that, because to be honest, then you're gonna view it as more of like, I want to win the argument rather than be better for myself. You're more worried about being right than you are being about better, and that's the issue. You're gonna hit me with so many arguments this Shay, that Shay, oh, this particular study that nitpicks and found exactly what I wanted to Shay, this, that. Bro, shut up. Listen, stop trying to be right and be better. That's all. I don't see how it helps you to be right because let's say this, right? Let's say you're right. There's a saying that goes, damn, that's awkward. Hold on. There's a saying that goes something like, the cynics are always right, but the optimists are the ones who rule the world, right? Think about that. And that's a fancy way of just saying, you know, you could be right about your odds. Okay, you could be right about your odds, but guess what? The world belongs to the people who are actually optimistic about trying to make that change, trying to be better. You could be right about everything you're talking about, but chances are it's not making your life better. So I don't know why you're spewing that shit anyway. Drop the ego. Drop the ego and start trying to go to the gym. Use some of my past videos. If you don't know how to start, literally start with the most basic level one. I don't want you to have a whole workout routine planned. I don't want you to think, oh, I need to learn everything possible before I need to be able to do this. I need to be on some sort of fad diet because that's the only thing I've seen on the internet with these, fake influencer meals and unrealistic shit, you know, eating 7, 8 meals a day. You don't need all that. Trust me. I was able to do it with, you know, fluctuating between 1 to 3 meals a day. I was able to bulk like that. Okay. Now, is there some sacrifice? Of course. Of course, there's sacrifice. That's just the name of the game. That's just how this works. But again, I fail to see how your life is better without taking this advice. I fail to see it. And what makes me so thankful for my physique? Because I know there's a lot of people in the industry that objectively, probably if I stepped on stage, have a better physique than I do. And I don't even plan on ever competing. Okay. But I'm happier with my physique than they are. So this goes to show you that the fitness realm is not exactly one that is all too concerned with health all the time, because in most cases, it actually isn't. Okay. But that does not give people the excuse to be like, yo, I'm not going to work out because these guys are bad influences. Working out was never the issue. It's only the influencers that, talk about being natural when they're actually on steroids. And even me, like, I'm natural, okay? And I gained the weight that I did, but my genetics might be a little bit different than yours. And so you can't expect to have the exact same physique, you know? Um, one other issue when it comes to mindset, okay, and I really want to address this is there is no shortcut, okay? And the problem, and I want you to see it like this, okay? Holy shit, that was a lot of stuttering. I want you to see it like this. The shortcut that you're trying to take by watching multiple videos on how to do something and, like, do it the fastest way possible, get around it the easiest way possible, that ends up being the long route, actually, because you end up spending more time trying to look for fast routes than actually doing the route that would get you there, than doing the work that would get you there. There, see, that's the thing. This is why fitness is so beautiful, because there's no getting around it. No one, it doesn't matter if they took steroids, it doesn't matter what anybody does, it doesn't matter if they got a personal coach like myself. Um, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they did, because at the end of the day, they had to put in the work to get the physique that they did. That is the number one thing. You cannot take away from that. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't watching the YouTube videos where they already know what they should be doing and now they're looking for the optimal technique of, oh, 45-degree angle. Don't get me wrong, that stuff is great to optimize, but you have to start, then learn. Stop trying to learn, then start, because you're going to be in a perpetual state of learning. Always. You're not going to ever start. Never. I've seen this happen so many times. so many times, even with myself, dude. The way I'm trying to teach y'all about fitness is the way I am with business, how I'm trying to learn business. And what I've been realizing is a lot of the things I learn in fitness actually apply in business. I just have to learn to fall in love with the process and do the work. Just doing the work. Stop avoiding it. Just do the work. What else? I'm trying to think. I had something. Um, I had something in my mind that I wanted to talk about, but I can't recall it. It was right there. Okay, here's another mindset tip as well. Okay, you don't need any sort of perfect emotional state to start the gym either. I see a lot of people falling off when their mental health gets bad. Let me tell you what, that is actually the exact thing that kept me into the gym. Now, I'll argue this though, right? It isn't the greatest fuel to use in the long term, but what it will do is it'll build the habit of going to the gym. The only problem that happens as a result is you have to break the habit of, being in this hateful state, because it is great and potent fuel, but it's a toxic one. Okay, and most of you are like, well, aren't you also building the habit of being in the toxic state? 100%. But I'd argue it was better for me to do that, to be able to now get into the gym and start letting go and doing the internal work, than to still be in the shitty state I was and not do anything about it and still end up with a toxic mindset. So it was basically choose between the toxic mindset or the toxic mindset and bettering myself using the toxic mindset. So I chose that one. It was that simple. Um, this is actually something I heard Sam Sulik, if for those of you who don't know, he's a popular fitness influencer, say the other day. Um, he was like, and I love using this as well. I've heard of this piece of advice, and I love throwing it out there. But it's all simple, but it's not easy. Okay, and that is the reason people try to look for outs in the fitness industry or the fitness space or like getting into fitness. It's because it's simple, but it's not easy. So when it's not easy, you take that into thinking that it's overcomplicated. How most people take it as, oh, I don't want to go to the gym and lift weights. Maybe I need to learn more. Is That's a cop out of saying that it is simple. It is objectively simple. How you lose weight, like the calories in, calories out. Um, add protein and then get better about tracking your macronutrients, and then just exercise. They don't there doesn't have to be a specific split. You can gain muscle on multiple splits. Like, I just pretty much gave you all the information you need there. But most of us, because of the work we know we'll have to put in, the work is not necessarily the easy part. And so in our minds, we take that as, oh, wait, this is actually a very overcomplicated thing and I need to learn more about it. But it's not overcomplicated. It is simple. It's just doing the action itself is not easy. And what I'll tell you is that you need to find a way to make this integratable into your lifestyle. And for a lot of you, that's going to sound initially very depressing, because you're going to be like, oh my God, this is something I need to do for life. Like, are you serious right now? Okay. And I know it's scary because it's a change, right? It's a change you're making to yourself. But what you'll soon realize is that was the way to think about it all along, because then you're alleviated from this expectation. Like, this expectation in your mind is taken away from you, that you just need to get jacked and then it'll be easier on from there. And you know what? Actually, that is somewhat true. Once you achieve your dream physique, maintaining it is actually not as hard as achieving it. But I want you to get out of this perspective that this is something that I'll do for a little bit and then stop, because that's just not the case. This is a lifelong process. But what you'll learn is, and again, the only way you learn this is when you actually start. I need you to start, dude. I need you to start. The only way you learn this is by actually getting into it, and you'll realize it was more than just about getting abs. We all started with 5-minute ab videos. It's always more than just about that. It was always more than about just getting your dream physique. You'll fall in love with it because now, instead of most people, what they think is, oh, I'll go to the gym for one day or do this little thing that'll help me make progress in the right direction, but it's not worth it. You want to know why? Because, oh, well, I'm not getting my dream physique immediately. It's because in their mind, the only goal that they have is their physique. But most people don't talk about this. Their goal is not only their physique, but deep down, it's shit that they're dealing with on an everyday basis that they don't talk about at all. I call people that go to the gym and do other martial arts and sports and stuff the universal garbage men. We take what's taken out on us from the world and we, in some heroic way, just transfuse that energy into our lifts. And that's how we end up getting jacked. That's what we do. We take the anger out, we take the pain out, we take all that out on our lifts. Okay. I don't know a lot of people that went to the gym because they were like happy and they wanted to be happy, healthy, and fit. Maybe like older people, perhaps. Um, but a lot of young people, they deal with a lot of insecurities. That's why you see Mr. Olympias. That's why you see these bikini models that you want to look like. It's because they have severe insecurities, and there's a small distinction between I need to get better, and there's a fine line between I need to get better and I don't feel good about myself, so I'm just gonna like keep doing this thing. And eventually it gets to a point where it's unhealthy because then that's how they get to the point of taking steroids and are willing to trade years of their life for, looking better. And they still don't feel good about themselves. They're still not content. So, yeah, you can fall into that trap hole. I'm going to be very honest with you, right? It's possible. But a lot of you haven't even started enough to know that. You use these things as an excuse as to not to start when you don't have to indulge in steroids, performance enhancing drugs, all these different things. So like then it goes back to square one. Like, do you want to keep that toxic mindset or do you want to keep that toxic mindset but do something about it? And then perhaps over time learn that, hey, the gym was more than just about building a body. Maybe it was also about building a mindset, and you will only learn that from the gym. Only learn that from the gym. I can tell you all the stuff that I've learned, but it's really not going to hit until you do. It's the same thing with characters in anime, characters in gaming. You see, they have these complicated lores where they hit rock bottom at a certain point, and they let go of their ego because, like, yo, my ego's not helping me. It's just hurting me. Like I'm going down a path that it's not helping me. Like there gets to a certain point where, um, you have this ego, and then you also have like who you'd want to be. Your ego stops you from doing that. But as you hit rock bottom, your ego goes down, down, down to the point where you're just like, bro, I just want to be better. Like, how do I get out of this shithole? How do I get out of here? So, same thing with a lot of those characters. I know a lot of them have like main character esque stories because they're just made that way, they're generated that way. But you'll notice with a lot of people that are successful, they're also in positions like that. Same goes for people who are now fit. I mean, shit, my story was rock rock bottom, got to college, realized that the only thing that I perceived as a part of my personality was or that gave me my level of self-worth was my grades. And when that came crashing down, I was like, who am I, dog? Like who am I? And so I got into the gym. Um and again, that can also lead down the dangerous path of having your self-worth closely intertwined with just your self-image. But I think you'll learn how to deal with that once you get into the gym. But using all of those excuses and problems that can happen as a result is not a good enough excuse, as to why you shouldn't start. Because chances are you've seen those on the internet, and the internet loves putting out shit that people love commenting on because it's emotional. It brings about like negative emotions in people that makes them want to comment and things of that nature. So so yeah, I just wanted to have that pep talk with y'all, and I think it's very very necessary because you think a lot of us are different from you, that we're just more disciplined, but really we're just using the pain that we have, and you're not doing that. It's just that simple. Or we were inspired on the screen by what we saw like in a fictional character. We didn't see that in the world around us, but we saw it in that fictional character. And even though we knew we couldn't be, you know, throwing abilities out and stuff like that like a fictional character does, we knew that we could at least try to better our bodies and like be inspired by their whole journeys. You know, recently Level Up Solo came out. That's what that anime does. It helps you gamify fitness. That's literally what my brand's about, like gamifying fitness, because I know that inspired me. So yeah, dude, I just wanted to make this video to say like not everything is as it appears. And maybe you're more like us than you think, you just haven't acted on it. And maybe you know more than you think, you just haven't acted on it. And if you really actually genuinely don't know where to start, I literally start from the step one, level one thing of what you could do in my videos below. Okay, go to my channel, you'll see videos that are kind of thumbnailed like this, and those are the videos I want you to go to. Click on them, watch them. They'll go through the level one step, because a lot of the things that also discourage y'all is the fact that people overcomplicate the shit out of fitness too quickly. You need to have micro goals, and once you get good at micro goals, you then move to the next step. That's how leveling system in any game works. How you can't skip over level 2 to go to level 3. That's not how that works. You have to beat level 2. You can't have beaten the game if you don't do all of the bosses. You have to start with the first boss and then progress throughout the story to get to the second, the third, and the final boss. That's how that works. Same thing with watching anime. Have you ever watched an anime gone from episode 1 to episode 10? With the exceptions of maybe Baki and JoJo's, because those those animes like JoJo's like the first 2 seasons. Let's be honest, a lot of us skip that shit. Um, and Baki doesn't really have a story like that, but it is sick. I mess with Baki. But yeah, anyway, like you get the point, right? Um, don't skip. You don't skip any of these things. You watch them in a continual order. You progress. And even if it's something tiny, again, do not let your ego stop you from progressing. Do you know how I started to become more disciplined? I started making my bed. That's something Jordan Peterson told me. And I was like, are you serious right now? You want me to make my bed? What is that going to do? Well, that then leaks into other habits of your life, right? Same thing with the gym. That's what I'm saying. Gym doesn't just make it about your body. At that point, it leaks into other habits of your life, because you know you could be better. You could be doing better because now you're getting more discipline at the gym. You can also get better at this thing. It gives you more of that power of belief. That's why I am starting to get more consistent with YouTube, posting shorts. I have that belief because I know I have an undeniable proof that I'm good at this thing, like the gym, and I'm good at it. And maybe you're like, Shay, I don't have accolades like that. You do. You're consistent with gaming. And you think, wait, that doesn't make sense. Because I don't enjoy the gym, but I enjoy gaming. It's like, no, it's the same thing. You sucked at the game at first, and then you got better and you started to enjoy it more. Right? The gym is the same exact thing. It's just in your mind, you've made it this hard thing that you're never gonna get to, because you've already convinced yourself you're not good at it, when that's not the case. It's not a part of your identity like that. Stop believing that you'll always stay the skinny, the fat guy. If you stay believing that stuff, you'll stay that person. That's how that works. That's how belief works. So that's why when you're looking for a partner, that's why I'm saying this is not superficial. Because when you see them taking care of themselves, and when you yourself lift, you know what it took to get there. You know what kind of person that made you in terms of getting into other habits. Like for example, like when you exercise, you have to take care of your diet, and maybe because of taking care of your diet, you're better at like cooking now, and you actually like cooking, and you would have never known about cooking unless you got into the gym. So it like compounds all of your other habits. So when you look at someone, it's not just about, oh, it's superficial, the looks, the all that. Sure, they should have personality 100%. Sure, they should also value loyalty, honesty, all these things 100%. But it also says so much about their character and likelihood. If they can commit to the gym, maybe they can also commit to your relationship, unlike someone who doesn't. You already have some proof of the fact that if they can commit to one thing, then maybe they can also commit to something else. Now, that doesn't always translate, but I think what makes that so special is the fact that you see that that person has the capacity to change. And if you don't have that in relationships, people keep going back to their exes, keep going back to those people that never change, and then it always ends up in the same scenario because, well, they can't display that in their personality or in what they do or in their endeavors that they can change. That this is why jobs look for people who have had past experience. You know, that's kind of like a similar thing. You need some sort of resume or undeniable proof that you're good at what you do, and the gym really helps build that, like in a job sense, in a relationship sense, because not only are you looking more attractive, but it leaks into other areas of your life in a good way that makes you love yourself and care for yourself. And that is self-love. That is love. It's not necessarily always throwing affirmations, even though that can work for a lot of people. It's also just doing the things that you know you don't want to do, but you know it'd be better for you because you're taking care of yourself like you're someone that you care about, like your daughter, like your wife. When you, I know you want to eventually have those things because you watch, you know, these animes, and you, in the back of my mind, and in the back of your mind, you're kind of hoping for it. You know what I mean? So yeah, dude, like I just wanted to go on that rant because I think a lot of you convince yourself of things that are very much possible and that are very much good for you, but you find a way to convince yourself out of them. You find every way to do that. And it's like your goal is not to be Mr. Olympia. Your goal is not to be these things. If that is, that's fine. Pursue that. Cool. But all I know is if you go to the gym, you'll feel better about yourself after the workout. There's never been a time where I don't feel good about myself. And you'll look better than what you did, than who you previously were, right? You can't necessarily look into the future or any of these things, but you knew where you were. And as long as you're better, that's what matters. That's what matters. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. If you earned your trust throughout this video and you feel like you're, on the journey alone, look in the link in the description. Completely free community, because I wish I had something like this. Um, as someone who was heavily like a nerd, like into anime and gaming, and I embrace that now. But I wish I had a community, that helped me with that, along with my fitness journey. So you'll find a lot of people that are motivated in that regard. So yeah, click the link in the description. Check that out, and that's pretty much all I got for you. All right, peace. Take it easy.